Charity at Home. I've actually been waiting for this for a minute, man. I've been waiting for Phonte to actually finally drop a solo album, and he finally done it. Phonte is easily one of my favorite MCs, in the game right now. So, there may be a little bit of biasness here, but I really fucks with this album, man, because it's Phonte doing what Phonte does best, man, and he's rhyming, and then he has a little bit of the singing in it that he's been doing for the last couple of years, and in all honesty, that was one of the concerns that when I saw that he was dropping a solo album, I thought that it was going to be Phonte, doing a lot of singing. So when I first pushed play and I heard he was rhyming over it, I was like, yes, here we go. And one of the things that I like about this album is that he definitely gives you all of him, meaning that he starts off rhyming with the first couple of tracks, and then it kind of jumps into the singing tape, right? And it's kind of like a little concept type thing there in the middle, which, and I think it started with the track with him and Medium, exchanging bars back and forth. And if you listen to the beginning of that track, it kind of starts off with the 1, 2, 3, 4 snare kick, and then it ended with that particular snare kick, and then it went into the whole the singing part, and then he came right out of that, and then closed it with more bars, man. So yeah, man, I like this album, man. I think people should cop this, man. It's just good, man.
You look mighty happy over there. You look mighty happy over here. Yeah, I thought the album was dope. It was the Phonte that I've grown to love and appreciate since the Listening and Mr. Show days when him and Knife Wonder was working together. I thought that Pharoah Monch track was that Pharoah Monch track. We go off. Yeah, that was like one of my standout favorite tracks on that album right there. And of course.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I was like,
oh,
did he really say that?
Yes.
Is it too soon? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But
say something about that.
what you think about the El Zion? Of course, that was the single, but wasn't that?
Yo, El Zion? I was like, holy shit, man.
This is you know what? When I heard that, I was like, yo, okay, this is why B loves El Zion. And remember, I didn't say I didn't like his mixtape. I liked El Zion. It just didn't move me. But El Zion, yo, he killed that track. And I think that was my favorite feature on there. El Zion was my favorite feature on there. Yeah, even over the Pharoah Monch joint. I loved El Zion on it. But for me, man, this album, look, it's my favorite from 2011. And the reason why I say Phonte is my favorite album release for 2011, the reason why is right here. It's a grown man album, and he tackles a lot of real issues. And to me, there were other albums that came out in 2011 that conceptually were better. You know what I'm saying? LA Riot by Thurs conceptually was better. It was executed perfectly. Section 80 was great conceptually. Okay, pause. Oh man, but yo, this album tackled a lot of real issues that I feel like I'm dealing with myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, he talked about, man, everybody works a job that you don't really want to. You can't quit. Economy not good. You know what I'm saying? He talked about real shit. He talked about when, he's like, man, when you find that one girl you want to spend the rest of your life with, but in the back of your mind, you always know you want to fuck other bitches. That's just real man shit. You know what I'm saying? He's just being honest. And he put that on there, and I'm like, wow, you know what? You know what I'm saying?
I'm honest like that, though.
Yeah.
I say anything.
Yeah, and you know what? I love the fact he put that on there. And then with the singing, at first it kind of threw me off, and I'm like, yo, is this Phonte singing? And I was like, wow.
He's always something.
Yeah.
Little brother album.
Yeah, he has, but it just kind of caught me because it was like toward the end of the album that all of the singing stuff came on, and I was like, damn, I could fuck with this from beginning to end. And that's the main reason why I put this as my number one album, because the realness of it was just, it got me, and I'm like, you know what, I can fuck with that, because he's spitting real shit. He's not, and I love the fact of how he catches your attention at the beginning of the album. He said, I do this for hip hop. Nah, fuck that. Nigga, I do this shit to pay my mortgage.
I like that.
And I love that shit. You know what? And,
so real.
And I let my boy listen to it, and I was watching him. I was looking at him. And when he said, man, I do this for hip hop, I see him roll his eyes. Because he doesn't really like conscious rap. But as soon as he said that, he was like, oh shit. Like, it took him back. Like, he's being real. This is as real as you can get, in my opinion, on an album. He is giving you everything that is going on, whether it's him and he's like, nigga, I'm not rich, but this harvest I have is as close as far from being broke that I've ever been. And that's just being real. That is being real. You know what I'm saying? And him talking about his family and stuff, and Phonte, you know what I'm saying? You got a beautiful family. Like, that's real. And that is what I can appreciate. And that's when I'm talking about like this fake shit in hip hop and this, that, and man, this is real. This is good hip hop. You need a motherfucking back this shit, because this is as real as you can get when it comes to hip hop. This is as real. He put everything there.
All right, so I don't know, man. I feel weird saying this now, but I thought the album was just okay. It wasn't bad. I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it either. I just thought it was okay. I kind of felt like I do with sci-hi albums, like we were discussing the other week. You know, we all know for a fact Phonte can rap. We all know for a fact Phonte can sing. What it came down to is, can Phonte write memorable songs by himself? When I listened to this album, I didn't get memorable songs. I got a very, very consistent album, but I also got a redundant album. I thought a lot of it had too many songs that sounded too similar. So nothing stuck out in my head.
You know what? Do you think? Hold on. I feel you on that, because this is my biggest concern for Phonte. You remember how we were talking on the 9th album where they said, they're two instruments of God? And when they're together, I think it's undeniable how they play off of each other. And Phonte was put on this earth to rap over Ninth Wonder beats. But what concerns me is like, can he get away from that? Can he have a sound from that? And that's why I feel you on the redundancy of the sound on the album. Because it all sounds like, I don't know every producer that produced on the album.
Sounds like it's one producer.
Exactly. It does sound like it's one producer. So if there's any knock on the album, I give that as a knock. But to me, when how you said it doesn't have any memorable songs.
You like Life as Kings?
You know.
Life as Kings with Evidence of Big K.r.i.t?
I love that, and I love Big K.r.i.t's verse on that shit too. But here's the thing, Mike. I 100% agree. You know what I'm saying? With the sound of the album is very redundant, and I think that's my fear for Phonte, because I think as a lyricist he's dope, but I think that sound that he has only sounds good on one style, and I would like to see him kind of like try to get away, not try to completely get away, but try to expand just a little bit more with other producers, other sounds.
He's
for me,
probably a little bit scared. When you build your career off a certain sound, when is he straight from that? When is he straight from that? He's never. So when you build your entire career off a certain sound, even though Ninth, I don't know how many beats Ninth had on this album. I think one. Just
like 4.
Okay.
Yeah, like 4 on there.
Okay. So 4 out of how many tracks? 13, 14?
12.
Okay, so 4 out of 12 tracks were produced by Ninth. When I listened to this album, it sounds like damn near the whole thing was produced by Ninth, because he stuck to that sound. When I heard this album was coming out, I really wanted it to be. I wanted it to shock me. I wanted it to blow me away. And when I put this album,
I didn't think the last track
can I
was
finish,
like
bro?
9 Oh,
that's fucked up, man.
Y'all made me mad.
I see that. Just keep it
I'm about to get
Kanye
y'all on
motherfuckers,
shit.
man.
I know how he is.
I'm saying, when I put the album on, I listened to it from track 1 to like track 9, and I got bored the first time I turned it off. And then I kept hearing all these people say how amazing the album is, the best album, this, that. I went back to it once again and got to like track 9 and turned it off. And it just doesn't hold my interest. Phonte's flow is pretty much the same on every single track. And that kind of thing starts to irk me after a while. It's like when you're an MC and you get put at a certain level, it's like when I put your album on, I want to hear diversity. I want to hear something, like I said, that's going to stick in my head, something memorable. But when you have the same flow on every track, the same rhyme scheme on every track, it just, after a while, it just gets boring. I'm just like, I don't want to listen to this anymore.
Pete, you have any more thoughts? No, I'm just saying.
I thought you was about to say something.
No, go ahead.
Stood up
Because, I was, because I think, but you weren't necessarily finished when you were talking about your thoughts on the album earlier. So, I'm just curious to hear what else, you have to think about it. And if you have anything in response
I was gonna say another thing that I do is I didn't think track 1 sounded like a Ninth Wonder track. I didn't think track 5 sound like a Ninth Wonder track. I didn't think track 12 sound like a Ninth Wonder track, and I didn't think the track with Pharaoh sound like a Ninth Wonder track.
You didn't think there were soulful beats? Not necessarily a Ninth Wonder track, but
I know.
something along those lines.
I mean, those tracks I just named, I didn't get a Ninth Wonder feel.
No,
But the thing
okay,
is
take
that
the
the sound
Ninth,
is
take the Ninth
consistent.
name out. Take the Ninth name
Exactly.
out.
The sound throughout the whole
It's
album
very
is consistent.
You don't think those
I love
tracks were
those,
soulful beats?
not those, the singing tracks that they didn't sound like really the same as not Here Anymore, or the track with Big Crit or Evidence. I think they sound different. That was just how I feel about it. That's just me. I like it because it was short too. I love short albums. I love 11. Give me 11 12 track album any day with just numbers.
You know what? I kind of disagree with you two on that because with Mike and FIFO a little bit, because while I understand that at some point there should be growth, I think some of that growth was experienced with the foreign exchange when he went in a different route. I think when you think about Phonte, you automatically think Little Brother. And I think when you listen to this album, I think when you listen to him on Ninth Wonder's beats, you kind of go back to that time, man. And I think what Phonte has, I think he has a signature sound that works for him. And when he put out music, it's not trendy. You know, it's not trendy to the time that the album was recorded. So I think for him, that's almost like a good thing because you don't get stuck. You're not pigeonholed.
So what are you disagreeing with though? Because I agree with everything you just said, and I don't think that goes against anything that I said.
Yeah, and here's
No, I don't think the album sounds redundant.
You don't think that the
it
majority
sounds
of the album
consistent.
sounds
The whole album 1 through 12 sounds consistent.
consistent and redundant are two different things.
Yeah,
I think you're saying consistent, but I'm saying redundant.
Okay.
To me,
Right,
redundant,
you disagree with him. You don't.
Yeah,
like he's
yeah.
you're with
I'm
me.
on my
Yeah.
own side right now.
No,
Consistent is an album is consistent. Like it just sounds like it's solid all the way through. Redundant means it starts to sound repetitive and almost boring.
But
I don't think he's saying that at all.
But I think he kind of broke that up though. Like when he went into the singing as part of the album, I think he kind of broke the redundancy piece of it.
Here's one track though.
It was
That's
multiple
not-
tracks. No,
How many tracks was it?
it was 12 tracks. I think
How many tracks was it that he was actually
it was
singing?
like what 2 or 3.
Okay,
It was
so 2 out of 12.
Yeah.
It was
not enough.
But then the joint with Pharaoh he was different, man, on that. I mean, he was a different.
He still had the same flow.
But he was still beasted. It was
It
still
doesn't
good.
matter. That's
though.
not what I'm saying. Let's make sure that we all understand this. I'm not at all even remotely saying that Phonte is not a good rapper. As I said at the very beginning of my statement, that we all know that Phonte is a dope rapper. We all know that Phonte is a great singer. That's not even the question. The question is, the album itself, to me, didn't have enough diversity. Phonte does not have multiple flows. He has the same flow. And yeah, I'm sure he uses that because it does work for him. So does the soulful sound. You're not going to hear Phonte over a breakbeat. You're not going to hear Phonte over some old school ass, boom bap beat. You're always going to hear Phonte over this style of beat. So when I heard this album, I was like, well, hopefully he's not going to be going over the same kind of soulful beats that he always goes over.
So you want him to go over different beats? Or you
I
want
just
him to
wanted
change it?
the songs to be different. Like not every
Yeah,
song.
I don't
can
see.
be sound
Okay, and I can feel you on that, but I don't think
there's
if
nothing
I'm
wrong with
doing
that.
a debut album, my first solo album, I need to give the fans what they
I
have
know.
been hearing from me for the
Listen,
last.
No, you don't.
10 or so years.
You need to make your album stand out from everything else you've done. So what I felt like he needed to do was I felt like Phonte needed to step his level up about 3 or 4 notches. He did not do that. If he was on 6 before, he maybe went to 7. That's it. I know Phonte can do better than this. I needed Phonte at 9, 9.5. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I felt like I got.
But
Phonte
what about
at
the people
7.
that already think he's at 9 or 9.5?
Okay, then he stayed at 9 and 9.5.
Okay, but
I'm
that's
saying,
good though.
It is good,
yeah.
but I'm saying like I look at Phonte and I know Phonte can do something different. I know Phonte can do something more. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying that anybody has to share this. I'm just saying when I put this album on, I didn't get a memorable album. I got basically shit. I know people are gonna get pissed, but I felt like I got Little Brother without Big Pooh.
I honestly believe his mentality right now, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing, for me, he's always been like an 8, 9, on a scale of 1 to 10 rapper for me. So to me, he didn't necessarily have to break out of it. I love the album because it's what I expected, and to me, he stepped up in terms of what he's always been a dope lyricist, and he's always talked real shit. But I think that in the time that we're in right now, I think he stepped up to where he needed to lyrically because he talked about a lot of real shit. So for me, lyrically, he stepped up.
I
kind of see that as far as
he didn't. You said sound-wise?
Songwriting. Yeah.
This album is exactly what, if you listen to his other music, it's what you would expect. But when I look at a Phonte album, I know how great he is. And I have a feeling, just like with Saha, I have a feeling that he has this inner amazing songwriter. But it's for some reason it's not coming out. And I think it's because he's slightly scared to break that mold. He's slightly scared to step away from Little Brother. He did the Foreign Exchange thing, which great was they were great albums. Even the hip hop one and the R&B one, great albums. But at the same time, when you're doing a debut hip hop album, I needed more than this from Phonte. I needed more than Little Brother without Big Pooh.
Come on, man. You gotta give people what they want at the end of the day.
No, you don't. You're an artist. You don't have to give people what they want. You don't, because first of all, he's not signed to a major. So he does not give people what they want. Second of all, if you are a top-level artist, you're not required to give people what they want. You're required to fulfill your own obligations to yourself. Now, if this is the album that he had in his heart, awesome. I'm not knocking the album at all. It's not a bad album. It's a good album. But when I put it on, it doesn't do anything for me.
You know what I think it is something that he wanted to do. Charity starts at home. I think this is something that when he sat down to make this album, he said, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to say, and this is how I want to say it. There were 4 songs on there that, had, the singing on it, so I think that broke the monotony of it a little bit. And I think if you look back to the rapping part of it, he hasn't really been rapping for the last 2 or 3 years. He's kind of been doing the singing stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for him to return back to rapping almost just like that, can he just flip a switch? He probably can because he's good enough. Can he flip a switch to where he's going to take it to another level right now? Probably not. So I don't think that, if Phonte say, I'm going to sit here and make an album, what do I want this album to be about, and what do I want my fans to hear from me? You know what I'm saying? And this is what I want to give them. You know what I'm saying? I think they will appreciate that and return that back to me. And they are. There's a lot of praise and accolades received around this album. Can Phonte go to another level? Absolutely. I mean, he's one of the top MCs out there right now. He's witty. He can definitely rhyme. I mean, he's good, man. He can do what he do. And I think that's why people kind of appreciated Foreign Exchange, but I think that's kind of why they wanted rapping Phonte as well.
So when y'all say another level, what level are you guys talking about?
I don't know. I think that's more for C-Town to answer.
You guys are okay. I think you're happy because you love Little Brother.
And I said I was biased from the beginning.
Of course. You're happy because you like Little Brother. He gave you Little Brother without Big Pooh. But don't you want something more than that?
Like
it's
what?
Anything. Like like I said before, give me some diversity. I don't think the album was that diverse. And throwing some singing on it, yes, that does break the monotony up slightly, but at the same time, it's still the same sound. Because it's not like Phonte is spitting Roy style. It's not like Phonte is spitting Cool G rap style. He's spitting that smooth, kind of, soulful style. So the singing doesn't really break the monotony up that much because it still goes with the same sound.
But I think he's staying true to the artist that he is. Like, I think, to do something different is like, why is he doing that when he does this?
People would have been saying that. They'd be like, well, why is he switching his flow up? But why he doing this? Why he doing that? Why he doing that? Then he wanted. People would have been dogging him out. It's kind of
not necessarily.
I would have.
I
think I would.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm saying. I think
that's a little risky.
Okay, think about this. You guys are okay. Think about this. Phonte has put out quite a few albums. Quite a few hip-hop albums, even if they weren't solo albums. So nobody is going to freak out just because he put out his own solo album and he switched his flow up a little bit on certain songs. Nobody's gonna dog him out. Come on, y'all.
But if he don't do it well,
he will do it well because he's that good.
Yeah, he'll do it well.
I guarantee he can do it well. Phonte is not a novice at this. Phonte is a fucking professional. So I wanted something a little different. And when I'm saying I wanted something,
no, I'm good with Phonte.
I
don't need Phonte doing anything different.
Okay, so
if
the next 3 albums sound like this, you're good.
If 3 albums sound like this, of course, I'm just saying the beats can change, but I want Phonte to stay the same. I want Phonte to stay the same.
He cannot do that style over every single beat.
I feel like a different type of soulful beat. It doesn't always have to be the same type of soulful beat. So for me, musically, all he has to do for me is just change up this type of soulful beat. Because he can't go on a Lex Luger beat. He can't go on a Rick Ross type of beat. He can't do that.
He could, but he would have to change his flow up a little.
But why would you want him on a Lex Luger?
I'm not saying I want him.
No,
you guys are missing the point. I'm saying
I'm not saying that you do.
Phonte is a good lyricist. If you put him over a beat like that, he could make it work. So when I listen to this album, I don't want 12 songs that sound that similar.
You know, I want to say this, that you know, I think, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I think I'm hearing 2 things. I'm hearing, you know, the critique about the flow, and I'm hearing the critique about the type of production he raps over. So, agree with you that yes, he can definitely change up his flow a little bit, and you know, at some point maybe he will. Disagree in the redundant. Well, not necessarily disagree, but as far as the soulful beats, Phonte doing his thing, I think for this debut album, this is what he needed to do. Now, going back to what you were saying as far as taking it to another level, I think with album number 2, yeah, I think now is the time to say, hey, let's go do something. Let's go do something a little bit different. Let's go do something, you know, a little bit more risky from what I was doing before in the past. Yes, he has a lot of albums, but it's always been, like you said, with groups. This is his first solo album.
So I don't want a bunch of fucking stupid ass kids getting on the comments. Mike hated Phonte. I didn't hate the album. It's definitely a good album. I wanted a little bit more from Phonte. The album didn't move me. The album, I'd rather go put on the Minstrel Show. Just because I don't feel like there's anything different from the Minstrel Show that's on this.
So
you go for the download, make sure you mention iTunes.
Yeah. So if you like Phonte, go support good hip hop. Download it on iTunes. Go buy the album. Do whatever you does, but go support this.
I agree with what FIFO said. If you like Phonte, you'll like this album. You know, it's a solid album. Definitely support it. Pick it up. Real hip hop.
Yeah, man. You know.
What?
No, real hip hop. Nah, man. I think. Yeah. I think, you know, I'm biased, so you know, I love the album. I'm happy with what I got, man. And you know what? I think people should do justice. You've been asking for a Phonte solo album for years, so definitely go buy this album, because if you don't, then shut up talking about it.
He may not do another one.
And he may not do another one. So, you know, go show this man some love, man. Cop this album. You know, it's good all the way around, and that's it, man. That's it.
If you don't buy the music, if you don't support the artist, how they gonna keep dropping dope stuff if you don't support the artist? So, cop the Phonte joint.